Trump humiliated the Ayatollahs by freezing the money that the Iranian regime wanted to receive even before giving real guarantees to the United States. This Saturday, June 6, 2026, Mohsen Rezai, military advisor to Iran's supreme leader and former commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, let slip what Tehran tries hardest to hide. The regime is not just talking about honor, sovereignty, or resistance. It is demanding $24 billion in frozen assets to return to negotiations. While the propaganda tries to sell that the Ayatollah rejected Trump, the raw fact is that Iran put money on the table as a condition for talks. He threatened routes in the Middle East and even demanded that Washington prove its trustworthiness before any serious agreement. What did the Ayatollah try to hide? Why did he ask for the billions? How is Trump going to tighten the pressure? I'll tell you all about this in a moment. If you like this kind of straightforward and no-nonsense content, consider subscribing because we have videos like this every day. Mohsen Rezai stated in an interview with CNN that a possible agreement between Iran and the United States is stalled because Trump did not release the $24 billion in frozen assets. He tried to call this a trust test, saying that at least half of that amount should be released to pave the way for negotiations. But that statement became a political confession. Tehran is not sitting in a comfortable position. The Iranian regime wants money before giving guarantees, wants relief before proving commitment, and wants to turn frozen assets into a weapon of pressure against the White House. Trump didn't fall into that trap. The White House kept the financial lock in place precisely because it knows that uncontrolled released money can strengthen them. The same regime that funds militias, threatens American bases, pressures Israel, and uses allied groups to spread instability. The request for $24 billion did not come out of nowhere. It came in the middle of a pressure campaign after attacks, maritime threats, and an Iranian attempt to extract political concessions from the United States. The Ayatollah may refuse a meeting in public, but his own representatives keep asking for an open check behind the scenes. Rezai also said that Trump should make decisions away from Israel, release frozen assets, and end blockades. Iran knows that Trump talks but doesn't give a blank check, and that's where the tone changes. For the regime, the meeting with Trump would be used as a symbol. For Trump, any meeting only makes sense if it comes with guarantees, inspections, nuclear limits, and concrete advantages for the United States. Ayatollah tried to show strength by saying there would be no meeting with Trump, but real strength doesn't match the urgent request for billions. When a high-ranking official makes negotiations conditional on the release of funds, it reveals where the pain is. Sanctions work when the opponent starts talking about money before talking about an agreement, and that's exactly what happened. Iran tried to turn the refusal to meet into a spectacle. But Rezai's own words revealed that the regime is under pressure from the American financial blockade. The Trump administration also put its envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in contact with nuclear experts at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee. This move shows that the White House doesn't want to enter technical negotiations blindly. The Iranian nuclear program involves uranium enrichment, material disposal, verification, inspection, and future limits. Instead of repeating the mistake of fragile agreements, Trump brought the debate to those who understand the nuclear structure from the inside. In practice, it's preparation not to be deceived by Iranian negotiators who have been trained for decades in this kind of game. Iran tried to increase the pressure with a military threat. Rezai talked about taking the war to the Indian Ocean, to Bab el-Mandeb, to the Red Sea, and even to the Mediterranean. He also mentioned Iranian control over Hormuz and the strength of the Houthis in the Red Sea. This threat confirms what Trump has always denounced. The Iranian problem is not just a diplomatic discussion behind closed doors. It's a blackmail network involving oil militias, shipping routes, American bases, and regional allies. When Tehran threatens to activate different fronts, it shows that it uses war and global trade as bargaining chips. This behavior explains why Trump can't just release money to create a climate for talks. The Iranian regime tries to sell its frozen assets as a national right, but the question that remains in Washington is different. What happens after that money goes back into Tehran's hands? Will it go to food, reconstruction, and the Iranian people, or will it go to rockets, drones, tunnels, militias, and intimidation at sea? The Iranian regime, after that goes into their hands, is not born from rhetoric. Trust is born when the regime stops threatening, accepts real oversight, and abandons the attempt to push the United States into early concessions. The Iranian attack against the American facility in Al Udeid in Qatar also entered the debate, because Air and Space Force magazine reported that Iranian missiles hit the Combined Air Operations Center of the American Air Force. Leaving the facility inoperative for a period, no military personnel were injured, but the episode showed the level of risk of the crisis. Even so, the American air campaign continued. The structure was damaged, there was operational reassignment, and the United States retained the ability to command, adapt, and respond. Trump also appeared in Wisconsin, arguing that the American economy remains strong, while the jobs report showed the creation of 172,000 positions in May and unemployment at 4%. Even with war in the Middle East, energy tensions, and a nervous market, the United States economy still shows resilience. Trump used this scenario to say that he is making rapid progress regarding Iran and that fuel and fertilizer costs may drop when the crisis is resolved through diplomatic or military means. The drop in the markets was used by critics as proof of failure, but the market reacts to risk, not to activist headlines. War, oil, sanctions, interest rates, and the Middle East affect investors. What matters is that Trump is trying to end the crisis without handing over $24 billion as a political prize to the Ayatollah. The difference is simple. The left sees the market fluctuating and blames Trump for confronting Iran. The White House sees the Iranian regime asking for money and understands that the pressure has hit the right spot. The statement by the Saudi Arabian energy minister alongside Putin in St. Petersburg also raised an alert in Washington. The Saudi rapprochement with Russia shows that the global chessboard is moving quickly. Moscow wants to exploit any gap, Tehran wants money, Beijing is watching the oil, and armed groups are trying to turn maritime routes into instruments of power. This scenario requires a president who understands tough bargaining. Trump is not dealing with ordinary adversaries. He is dealing with regimes that only respect cost, blockade, force, and bargaining advantage. The case also exposes a deep difference between negotiation and submission. Negotiating is listening, assessing, pressuring, and demanding. Submission is releasing billions before receiving concrete proof. Trump agreed to discuss, but he did not agree to pay the entry fee to sit at the table. Tehran wanted to reverse the logic: money first, then the talks. The regime itself creates the evidence against itself. If money is requested while the threat continues, Washington has even more reason to maintain sanctions, restrictions, and technical requirements. I'm Milson Alves, an international affairs specialist, and my goal is to keep you well informed and grounded in the truth every day. The news links are in the video description. Like this video, subscribe, and check the comments at the end to stay engaged with the Milson Alves community.